What is going on YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast, and today we have episode 30 already. Oh my gosh, I actually didn't even realize that we were already 30 deep in this. So yeah, episode 30, we got some Guardians talk, and then we're gonna end with some Cavs talk, because obviously we have NBA playoffs starting finally, which is good and bad. Obviously NBA playoffs are always fun. We got play-in tournament going on right now, actually. Currently, I think Miami and Philly are still playing. I know they're in the fourth quarter. We still got Hawks and Bulls tonight as well. So basketball is alive and well. But with the Cavs going, we will see how that goes. But before we get into Cavs talk, first of all, Andrew, how are you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing good, man. I'm ready for that playoff basketball.
I am too, man. I mean, like I said, even with the sort of vibe right now around the
Mm,
Cavs, especially after the All Star break, it's just been very up and down, and it's
yeah.
been hasn't been pretty for us right now. So I'm hoping a corner gets turned and the guys have a little fire up their butt and we really play well. But first of all, before we get into Cavs talk, let's go ahead and start with Guardians talk because, listen, man, the Guardians are one of the best, if not the best team in baseball right now, which I don't think any of us would have predicted early on this year. And I don't really think any of the media people would have picked them to start off this well. Um, currently up 2-1 on the series with it against the Red Sox. We just lost tonight 2-0. Um, had a rough outing, but overall, Guardians are hitting the ball. They're pretty much pitching pretty well. Um, Even with the injury to Bieber, what is it about this Guardians team right now that just is going well so far? Like, honestly.
I mean, it's just the batting right now. This is a thing that everyone questioned coming into the season was can the Guardians hit? And a lot of the questions was can they hit the long ball? Well, they're 12th in hitting home runs in the league, but they're great at everything else. They're great at the small ball. They're great at getting base hits, getting on base, drawing walks, putting the bat on the ball, getting singles and doubles and triples. I mean, we saw it last night when we won in extra innings. A lot of it was the small ball that got us there, and we saw it in game one. I guess the Red Sox. We've seen all season. It's just knowing what your guys' strengths are, and that's just putting the bat on the ball, making contact, beating throws, getting on base. It's the same old school Moneyball way you saw in the Moneyball movie. The 2002 Oakland A's did it all season long. A bunch of worn down guys, and what do they do best? They get on base.
Yeah.
And what do? They put runs on the board. As the Guardians are like number one, are now probably number two in the league in run differential. And that just shows you the boys are scoring runs. We're getting on the board. And it's funny because I saw this one stat yesterday that the Guardians, well, are now 9-3 on the road because
Mm-hmm.
they just lost tonight. But the last time the Guardians started 9-3 on the road or 9-2 on the road was back in 1948,
Wow.
and that's the year we won the World Series. So that's something to keep in mind. The last time we had this red hot of a start like this, especially on the road, we won the World Series.
That's crazy to think about. I mean, that really is. But like again, good baseball teams obviously can win at home, but really, really good teams can win on the road. And I'm telling you, man, if they can just continue to just play within their game, like they are. I think that's what I really love about this team is they play within themselves. They
Mm-hmm.
know their strengths. They don't try to do
Too
things that
much.
they just aren't capable of. And different guys step up every game. I mean, last night it was I think it was Tyler Freeman that hit that 2-run bomb last night. The Naylor brothers have been coming through clutch. We have obviously Jose, Stephen Kwan. These guys are all stepping up at different times, and even on the other side of the ball, defensively, guys are making plays. They're not making a ton of mistakes, and it just goes to show that again, the change in the GM ultimately was the biggest, like thank God for I understand Tito was great, but I think his time was just running a little too low,
Yeah.
and it was just time for a change. and it's working so far. These young guys, I think, have bought into just the fact that we just have a younger body uh, as a GM that can relate to them as players,
Mhm.
and we really understand um, how this team works, and it's amazing to see. Like it's so fun again. Dude, Cleveland's always nice when our baseball team is doing better. When
Yeah.
our baseball team is playing well, Cleveland is always alive. It's always fun. Obviously you go to games pretty much every time you can, so the vibe out there. It's always fun. Like,
Yeah.
especially when they're like this, it's fun. And then that makes people want to go out to games. So, yeah, the Guardians just got to keep going. But it hasn't been super super pretty. I mean, obviously, we're 12 and what 6 now. I think
Yep.
since we just lost.
12 and
Um,
6.
but once again, we're scoring runs. The only thing that we are kind of struggling right now, really, is just the starting pitching. Guys like Tristan McKenzie have been sort of up and down. Not really seeing enough innings out of these guys. And I know that was uh, a tweet that you had brought up. I think it was
Yeah.
either last night or the night before. Um, and I totally agree with you. And I really want more of your thought on that because this bullpen is not bad. And it seems like every time the bullpen starts to play a little rough, there's always some sort of crowd out there that's like, "Oh man, we suck again," or like, "God, this bullpen sucks." But the bullpen is also one of the best in the league as well. It's just they're getting rode a lot right now. They're getting
Yeah.
rode a lot because we don't have Bieber, so we are messing with our rotations. Guys are only able to go 5 or 6 innings deep, which isn't quite enough for a starting guy to go. So yeah, I just want to get more of your thought on that, more of a open discussion on that because I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, no, this tweet was from last night,
Yeah,
during the game last night, because this was just before we got into extra innings. My original tweet was you could tell the bullpen is just gas. Need our starters to start going 6 to 7 innings, not 4 to 5.
yeah,
Crazy how people say our bullpen is laughable, even though our bullpen is ranked first in the league. And then I quote tweeted and put for context, the bullpen is first in ERA at 118, first in WHIP with 0.95, and then first in strikeouts per 9 innings with 11.16. So they're first in almost every single category you put them in. I think there's one more category for the good, and I think they're like second in that.
yeah.
But this bullpen, and I saw tweets of before when the reason why I tweeted that is because I saw tweets during the game like, God, our bullpen has been shit all year. None of these guys have looked good all year, and it's like the stats say that the Guardians are the best bullpen in the MLB. The Guardians have the best ERA, the best strikeouts per 9 innings, the best the best WHIP in the league. Like it's not the bullpen that's the problem. It's the fact that they're coming in the fourth, fifth inning and they're pitching the vast majority of the game.
Yeah,
And you're gassing through your bullpen because all these guys, they're not pitching multiple innings. They're pitching 1 inning per person, basically.
yeah,
And sometimes it might be two in the same inning. So you're going through almost 5, 6 guys in the bullpen before the game is done because you can't make it through the first 4 innings without needing to bring them in. And now, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of the concern with the starting pitching is there is still a lot of injuries in the starting pitching. You just lost Shane Bieber. Tristan McKenzie's still probably dealing with that shoulder injury, and that's probably knocking him a little bit.
yeah,
Carlos Carrasco hasn't pitched in.
yeah. He's getting older. Like,
He,
yeah,
yeah, he's 37 years old, but up until like last season, the Mets hardly used him at all last season. I think a lot of it was due to injury as well.
mm,
And so he's starting to get back into it. Bybee and Logan Allen are still young. So they're still trying to figure things out. Yes, like they're doing well, but they did get their asses kicked a couple times already this season, and that's just a learning curve for them. And they will get better as the season goes along. I'm damn sure of it. Once we get to the middle to the end of the season, they'll be really good pitchers still.
and that's when it matters.
Yeah, and
Straight up.
Gavin Williams comes back in probably a week and a half from now. He's probably
Yeah,
throwing bullpen as we speak. He's probably going to start pitching in Columbus within the week,
yeah,
or probably over the weekend. You'll see him throw with the Clippers and get some live action, and then he'll be back within the next week or two.
yeah.
So you'll have Gavin Williams back. So people have to stop panicking. And we looked at Xavier Curry the other day.
Pitch
He
great. Yeah.
pitched a hell of a game, and I don't see, and I'm sure him and I mean Lively tonight, he pitched well. So I think you have a couple arms there that just finally came back and just got back from injuries and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
Curry and Lively, and these guys will help you recover for the loss of Shane Bieber and help you recover from some of these poor games. But again, a couple of these guys are still on pitch restrictions. I think Curry was on a pitch restriction. He came out early in the fifth or something, and I think Lively came out in the fifth as well on a pitch restriction because they both only had like 75 pitches when they left the game.
Yeah.
So they still had plenty of gas in them, but obviously you don't want to go too far and then them re-injuring or getting hurt again, and next thing you know they're out for a longer term and you can't bring them back. I even said Hunter Gaddis would be a
Yeah.
great to have start because he's actually listed as a starting pitcher. He's actually a starting pitcher. They just threw him in the bullpen because last year we needed bullpen arms.
Yeah.
So he's coming on off in the bullpen. Now don't get me wrong, he's doing great in the bullpen in the couple innings he's pitched. But I think you can make a case for him to go out there and be a starter every once in a while because he is a starting pitcher, so he knows how to go 5 to 6 to 7 innings. So
Yeah.
who knows? You might get him up there in the mix. So the Guardians, I think their starting pitching is just more or less off the rails right now, just due to injuries and people just getting back from injuries, and you know everyone on the starting rotation has just come back from some sort of injury besides the two rookies of Bybee and Logan Allen. And I mean, don't get Logan Allen's probably looking better than Bybee right now, but
Yeah.
I mean, Bybee didn't have that terrible of a game the other night. So again, it's just we can't panic too early. And I know we're Cleveland, that's what we do best. We like to panic
I was about
early.
to say, you got to remember the fandom here.
Yeah, we're Cleveland. We like to panic so fucking early, but we're 18 games into the season and we're the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy it for right now.
Exactly. And I think that's my biggest point always with any of these Cleveland sports is, dude, quit hitting the panic button too soon. There's no reason to. You know, baseball is a very up and down,
Yeah.
you know, sport.
It's
It
a
really is, man.
It's the true definition of good night and bad night because you could have a pitcher like Tanner Bybee. One game he went, pitched like 6.5 innings, had 9 strikeouts, was looking electric. Next game he gets smoked.
Yeah.
So it's just it happens. It's baseball. That's a part of the game. Who knows? The guy who threw 9 strikeouts against us tonight, that Hocek or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
he probably could have this good game tonight, but then the next time he pitches, he could probably give up 9 runs and only strike
Yeah.
out one guy. Like that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, that's how baseball goes. And also, I think just the players in general, just overall, are so much better than they were. I think, and it's not even so much power hitting too. It's guys just know how to put the ball in, in play and keep an inning going, and that's really how you tear down a starting pitcher is being able to just sustain innings for a long, long, long time as a hitting team. You know, that's the biggest way you get to a guy. Or I mean, if you're just straight up just jacking home runs off him, then fine, I guess that's more of the old school way, but.
Or if you're Angel Hernandez and you just
Yeah.
can't make a correct call.
Right. And again, the guys have been hitting pretty well for the most part. Obviously tonight they only had 3 hits. The guy that the Red Sox had tonight, he just played a great game. I mean, he went 9 innings, 3 hits, no runs. I mean, that's just a solid performance, and that's gonna happen. It doesn't mean that this team sucks at hitting. It doesn't mean that that lineup won't have success again in the next few days to a week. You never know. Like, it's just how baseball goes. So, like, people have got to stop getting so sucked in, especially early on right now, with how up and down the Guardians could and will be. Because, again, they are young. We are dealing with injuries. And we also have a new manager that is still finding his role in this team. And, I am still giving him praise because he has done a fantastic job so far, but he's going to have some times where he's going to be like, hey, I got out coached tonight, and it's a learning curve. And that's the nature of the game. Like, that's just the nature of the beast. So, Yeah, man, I'm really tired of Cleveland fans getting so upset so often, so quickly. It's one thing to be upset about like the Cavs right now, but it's like it's like when Browns fans get mad after two or
The
three
Desha-
games of the season.
well, it's like the
Like you're not
Deshaun.
even a full month in yet, and they're like, "Oh man, we suck already." When we're 2-1,
Yeah,
and yet you're still like, "Oh well, Deshaun hasn't had a huge game. He's not playing the best, but we're 2-1, but it's not good enough. We could have been 3-0." And it's like, guys, wins in sports and professional sports are so hard, especially football. But in
you just gotta take
baseball,
them.
yeah, but like in baseball, again, it's such a long season. You cannot get too up and down, especially right now.
Hmm.
I always usually bring that cutoff of like wait till like July, see where this team's at, and usually that's a good indication of where it could go, or being like, hey, this is where they have to really start turning a corner, and then by, you know, August, or actually no, I want to say even like mid June, because July is a little too long. Uh, if you're in July and you're struggling, August is going to be a very stressful month for you, because then you
Hmm.
go into September and you're clinging on for dear life, trying to get a wild card game, which we've been there. We know what that's
Yep.
like. So we don't want to worry about that. Like I would rather just win our damn division again, and just see who we play. And again, I think uh, the American League, it's really not a scary league. Like I don't know, there's just not a whole lot of teams that like scare me. There really isn't. But that's just because it's baseball, and the best team won't always win. Like it's just how it goes. So I'm kind of repeating myself here, but it's just frustrating when fans get so up and down like that. Like it really is. Like especially as a Cleveland fan, we're all too familiar about it. Um, it just sucks. Like because it makes being a fan of this team more annoying than it needs to be. Like that's where it starts to take the fun out of it for me.
Yeah, no, and speaking to the fucking annoyance of the fans here, it's the same thing with the Deshaun Watson news compared to the Nick Chubb news. When we saw Stefanski talk about the Nick Chubb situation, like, oh, he'll be ready when he's ready, and everyone's like, yeah,
Oh
you
yeah,
go,
take his
Nick,
time.
get
Yeah.
get healthy, Nick, whatever. And then when Deshaun Watson says it, it's like, boo, you suck. Like, are you ever gonna be healthy?
Yeah.
Like, are you ever gonna be like, are you ever just gonna be good? We wasted $230 million on you. Like, it's like he just said the same thing that Kevin Stefanski said about Nick Chubb. Like, and the thing is like I don't think people understand what people don't understand about sports is the fact that you know your body best.
Yeah.
People heal differently.
Yeah.
So who knows? I could have had the same injury as Deshaun Watson. Who knows? I probably could have healed faster than he could.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he knows when he'll be ready. His body will tell him when he's ready, and that's it. And everyone's like, "Well, why can't you just say you're going to be healthy by week one?" Because why lie?
Yeah.
Why say, "Well, I'm gonna be ready by week one, 100%. I'm gonna be 100% by week one." And next thing you know,
Right.
he can barely throw a ball 15 yards because his arm is fucking jelly. You can't just say, "I'm gonna be healthy by week one," and then give everyone hope, and then get even more mad at you when you lied to them. So when I don't understand why it's not just even Cleveland fans, it's just fans around the world who just think like that. They're like,
Right.
"Oh, you're just skating by them. Well, I'll be ready when I'm ready, whatever." Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the fucking point. You can't just go out there with jelly arm and expect to be good.
No.
Nick Chubb can't go out there 2 weeks after he fucking tore his ACL and go out there and run for 200 yards
Yeah.
a game. Like, these people have such unrealistic standards of what's going on. So when Nick Chubb or when Stefanski speaks for Nick Chubb and says, "Oh, he'll be ready when he's ready," and everyone's like, "Get well soon," and then Deshaun says it about himself, and everyone's like, "Go fucking take the piss, go get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here," whatever. Like, it doesn't make sense to me because it's the same for both. When they're ready and they're healthy, they will play. When you feel discomfort, and it's the same thing with Shane Bieber. When he felt discomfort, he called it quits early and said, "Listen, I have to get this surgery. Should have probably
Right.
done it last year, but I'm doing it now because, yeah, I pitched 2 great games, but my shoulder's killing me, man. It's not comfortable.
Right.
So I clearly wasn't healthy enough, like I thought I was. And again, it could be the same with Watson. Watson could throw 200 or 350 yards in the first game with the Browns on the season,
Right.
and then come and say I need shoulder surgery again because I just feel a lot of discomfort in my shoulder. Like it just doesn't feel right. And guess what? Everyone's gonna be like, "You fucking idiot! We wasted so much money on you." And it's like, well, you guys were the ones who wanted him rushed back.
Yeah.
This is all your fault.
Yeah.
Like he said he'll be ready when he's ready. You said no, you'll be ready when we say you're ready. And now he gets injured again.
Yeah.
So people got to understand that like injuries aren't just something that disappears. You know, it's not like a fucking allergy. You don't just get rid of it after a couple days and it's gone for a while. Like it's gonna come back, and he's
Yeah.
gonna feel this. And him and Nick Chubb, guess what? During the season, they're gonna feel discomfort throughout a lot of the season.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to Cleveland fans, but sometimes we're the biggest fucking dumbasses on the goddamn planet, and I'm tired of these biases of certain players and people taking the piss out of Garland, even though he broke his jaw and he's still trying to get back to normal, and Evan Mobley, and it's like, oh, one bad game, and all of a sudden this guy sucks for life,
Yeah.
and
It,
it pisses me off, dude.
well, and like I think fans need to rewind their brain a little bit here on this sort of topic. We should have learned after the Baker issue.
Yeah.
Like when Baker got hurt, we basically forced him to play. Like he literally got bullied into still playing through that shoulder injury when he shouldn't have. Because I guarantee he had a very, very similar issue that Deshaun currently had. I'm pretty sure it was probably about the same type of injury, but again, the only difference is Deshaun's is his throwing shoulder, Baker's was not. So that's why people were like, "Fuck you, like go play." Your whole motto is being tough and all this stuff, and guess what? He still played, and he sucked.
Yeah.
And
he was worse.
yeah, he was worse. So like, that is the flaw in that type of thinking. So you need to just trust in the team because it's not Watson's decision to make. Watson will say, "Oh, I'm fine," because he's tough. The dude went 14 of 14 after breaking his shoulder.
Yeah.
like,
and then people will tell you, "Oh, well, it's just all dink and dunks."
yeah,
Okay, so was Tom Brady's entire 22 NFL year career was all dink and dunks. Are you gonna say he's not the GOAT because he threw all dink and dunks for his entire 20-year career and won 7 Super Bowls? Fuck no.
all right.
So stop being so stupid. Stop being so whiny. Just if you're gonna be whiny and stupid, don't make comments about it whatsoever because and everyone knows you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, it infuriates me when people try to talk about injuries, like
There's some
fans
doctor.
when they don't even understand, like they've never even had an ankle sprain. It's like, dude, do you know the difference between the feeling of a low and a high ankle sprain? That shit is very drastically different. And that's also what Watson had that day on top of his shoulder. So again, I don't want to hear it. Like I really don't want to hear it from people. And again, it goes back to the Guardians now because I know we got a little off topic, but you guys just cannot. We can't have these types of conversations in a toxic way like this anymore. We really can't. Like we have to find a way to better vent, or just not placing blame solely on certain players because these players are still human beings too at the same time, and. I think it was when Njoku was on the podcast there with Watson. They were talking about that. Like they're like, dude, we're humans too. Like they have no idea what we have gone through prior to that game. I mean, Njoku literally burned his face off practically and still played. And he's like, dude, do you realize how painful that was? He's like, I've played through a high, and he's like, I've played through a high, ankle sprain. it's painful. You can barely walk on it. Like it's people don't understand.
I
So
put
if you don't understand that, don't comment on it or don't hold it against a player. And I get people are frustrated because Watson hasn't been healthy, but it's it's more uh, drastic of a conversation because of everything else surrounding Watson. Which to that point, fine. Again, if you don't like him, or if you don't want to support him, that is fine. Like I have no problem with people disliking him as a person and not wanting to support him as a person because of what he's done or what he's been a part of, the rumors, whatever. But you can't just continuously talk shit about about people that are more worried about the team and not just one specific fucking player. Like I don't care about Watson
hmm
as a player. I just want him to play and play well because
Yeah.
that means our team does well. Same with, many other players. The only guys that I really like actually enjoy on this team are Chubb and Garrett, and guys like that are like they're just easy to just be like, yeah, they're really good people. And that's why people are, like, yeah, Chubb, take your time. It's like there's a potential that Chubb might not even play until like November from what I'm hearing. Like we don't
Yeah.
know. We really don't know.
He might miss
So
half a year.
yeah, so like you guys better be ready for that. I mean, that's why Andrew Berry decided to add what was it, two or three guys I think this year
Yeah, he
in
added
in the starting back
Hines
room
and yeah, he added Naeem Hines. I can't remember the others.
and Foreman.
Yeah,
I
Deontay
want,
Foreman.
and then obviously we have Ford still. I want to say we
Yeah,
added another guy.
I think we
Uh,
did too.
I think we did too, but it was somebody. It was somebody else random. Um, but even so, we might still even draft one as well.
Yeah,
And that's another another thing too. But I know we're not really talking about the Browns, but we are also getting close to
draft time
draft time. So here soon that will be a conversation that we're gonna have. But I
next
do want
week.
to yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. But I do want to switch over to some Cavs talk because again we have playoff basketball going actually right now. I'm current.
Sixers won.
Did they?
Yeah, Sixers won. They beat the
I'm
Heat.
watching it right now. Oh yeah, they did. Good for them. Yeah, dude, that is before. I mean, I guess before we go into the Cavs talk, I guess we could just talk about the playing tourney stuff going on right now. Philadelphia is one of those teams. Honestly, I would be a little scared of right now because they have
Yeah,
Embiid back.
if he
And
can stay healthy.
Maxi's been playing out of his goddamn mind. Batum had a 20-point game today apparently,
Yeah,
which is random. So I mean, dude, if that team can continue to play well, that's going to be a playoff team that could skate by and get to an Eastern Conference Finals against against Boston, and who knows what could happen there because Embiid is one of those guys that can really change a team's outlook. So them beating the Heat, I'm really not that surprised with because I've never really been high on the Heat. I just think they're just too old of a team, honestly. Like
yeah.
Jimmy B is still a great player, but he's older, man. Bam is good, but I don't think Bam is very elite. Like,
Everyone thinks he is.
yeah, and like I don't think he gives you quite enough to be that like official like number one guy, you know? Like he's just not the guy that you want the ball in his hands when it's crunch time. I really don't. Like honestly, I feel like Tyler Hero would be a better option at that point,
Well, even
because at
he's
least he can
regressed.
shoot. Yeah, and even he has regressed. So like, I don't know if it's Spoelstra. I don't know if it's just the guys in general. I don't know, but Miami's a little bit interesting. But I know the other game that's going on tonight here, actually right now, is Hawks and Bulls,
Yep.
and those are two other teams as well. Then I don't fear in the East personally. I don't think they're gonna go very far, especially being a seventh or eighth seed. I do think uh, if Philly can make that seventh seed, I do think
Philly do
that
have the seventh seed now.
okay, they do
Cause so
officially.
so
Okay,
yes, because since they won, they now play the Knicks, and have claimed the 7th seed.
Okay.
So the loser, Miami, is now awaiting the winner of the Bulls and Hawks game, and
And
whoever
then
wins that will play the
okay.
Heat, and then whoever wins out of that game will be the 8th seed and play the Celtics. So
Interesting. Okay.
so so Miami right now is awaiting on the winner of this game,
Right.
and whoever wins this game will play Miami, and then the winner of that game will go on to play Boston
Okay.
in the first round and play the
So
Celtics.
yeah, hot take here. I think Philadelphia beats the Bucks in the first round. Or actually, no, sorry, because the Bucks are the
They
third,
play the Knicks.
and yeah, the Knicks
The
have been pretty solid. So the Knicks will
yeah,
probably beat Philly.
and then the Bucks play the Pacers.
Dude, I can see the Pacers knocking out the Bucks. Like that's one of my hot takes right now with Giannis being out. I think the
Yeah,
Bucks could get a first round exit.
I
Um,
think so too. I think without Giannis, they're absolutely nothing.
yeah, I mean,
Unless Middleton drops 35 a game.
which like it's not saying that he's not capable of it, but like you cannot put all of that weight on Damian Lillard's shoulders. You just
Yeah,
can't. Like I mean,
Dame and
yeah, you
Middleton.
can. He's done it, but he's just not. He's not Portland.
Dame anymore.
Lillard. Yeah, he's not like.
And he had to deal with all this in Portland too. So yeah, he's used to it, but he's
And
getting to that age now where he can't
yeah,
do it by himself anymore. And that's why he came to Milwaukee so he could play with Giannis, and now Giannis is out.
yeah, and then they have Doc, and Doc's been a disaster. I mean,
Yeah, they've been bad with Doc ever since Doc came in. They've been really bad. I think they had a losing record to end the season when Doc came in.
Doc is
Like,
one of the most overrated coaches I think that has ever coached in the NBA. Like he realistically has not had a great track record. He's just had a lot of good players.
yeah,
He had that dream team in the Clippers a long time ago, with CP3, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. Dunk fucking City. Like those guys were so disgusting. Uh,
I just seen a tweet that says there's no way in the universe the Sixers win that game with Doc Rivers.
Hell no. And like that's again my take is like Doc is just not a very good coach. I don't think schematically speaking, he's a good coach. I think he just lets guys he's one of those coaches that like needs to coach for a team that's got a lot of big players because he can literally just be like, "Hey, play within yourselves." Like just trust in yourselves and just play the game. And just try to lock down on defense. Because I just think he's a sort of lazy coach. But yeah, with the plan, I know Golden State didn't make it either, right? They're out.
No, they lost the other day to Sacramento. So Sacramento got the revenge from last year.
So I know the Lakers are in on the West, or they at least have to play. I don't know. Do they play in the plan? Actually, totally forget. Let
Then
me.
I think they play tomorrow because the Kings and the Pelicans I think play tomorrow
Yeah.
because the Lakers beat the Pelicans to get to that 7th seed, so they play Denver, and then the Kings beat Golden State, which means they play the Pelicans. I assume that game's tomorrow
Yeah.
to see who plays the Thunder, who have the 8th seed.
Trying to see like the schedule. It's not really popping up. But yeah, so I mean again, dude, the Lakers are gonna be one of those teams, I think, that
Also, I was right, by the way. Since the hiring of Doc Rivers on January 26th, the Milwaukee Bucks have had a record of 18-20 since Doc Rivers has joined Milwaukee. So they had a
yeah.
losing record since he's joined the team.
And Damien's not even happy there right now. Like from what I've understood about that particular situation, he's miserable in Milwaukee. Because I mean, you go from being in Portland to having at least a lot more to do to being in
Yeah.
Milwaukee. I mean, what are you gonna do in Milwaukee besides go to a Kroger or something weird? I don't know. Like,
Well, and the thing is, you had a great coach and you fired him for Doc Rivers.
yeah, it just made no sense.
And now I'm hoping he becomes the coach of the Cavs. Because
Yeah, for real.
I think he would do such an insane job. I forget the guy's name who coached. Um, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. I knew it the other day.
Yeah,
Adrian Griffin.
yeah, Griffin.
Adrian Griffin. Um, of course, I figure it out just before I look it up. But no, I think Adrian Griffin would be a good fit for the Cavs because again, young team. You have a superstar in Donovan Mitchell. I think he could definitely do some shit, and you have a good big, a couple good bigs.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying Mobley and Allen are gonna become fucking Giannis overnight,
no,
but I think with this kind of team, I mean, he can make this team a second seed or compete with the Boston Celtics.
yeah. I mean, he can, but
We're talking
Doc is
baby
just yeah. It stinks. It stinks. There's so
Doc.
much fucking potential
Yeah,
with this Cavs team. So
could be
speaking of
worse.
which, let's go.
Could be
So
worse. You
speaking
could
of
have Doc
which,
Rivers.
yeah. So speaking of which, let's go into that because the
Yeah.
Cavs play the Magic, 4 versus 5 seed. It kind of stinks that we didn't get the second seed, which we had at one point. Um, but unfortunately, there's just been a lot of injuries going on. Lots of rumbling about JB, and just there seems to be sort of a rift between him and the players. Players haven't really agreed with stuff that he's done, which we pretty much agree with at this point. I think we're all in the same boat. Um, and I know we talked a little bit last week about JB could have gotten fired earlier this year, and they decided not to, just because they were playing well. And now it's coming back to bite you, and now you're in a particular situation where, realistically speaking, the Cavs should win this series. In no more than 6 games. Like they should not need more than 6 games to beat the Magic. And the reason why I give them 6 games is because I still think the Magic are a good team. They're still the 5th seed, so they're not a bad team. They're just young. They don't have a lot of playoff experience, and that could come back to bite them because it bit us in the ass last year. So anything can happen in the playoffs. Obviously, I think we're both very well aware of that. But this Cavs team has so much potential, and they just need to nut up or shut up here. Like it's time to stop
Mhm.
making excuses and just play within yourselves. Like play the ball that you were playing before the All-Star break. And if you can do that, there's really not many teams that can actually beat you on any given day because of the way you play. Um, so give me your thoughts on just kind of how you're feeling right now before this, because I know there's a lot of mixed feelings around the Cavs right now. There's a lot of people like myself that are honestly a little nervous about this first series.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is some worry in this first series, but I think you can handle the Magic. Obviously, if everything does go right.
Yeah.
That's the key. Everything does have to go right for the Cavs, but I mean, this is a matchup that I mean you obviously tanked for.
Yeah.
So if you tank to get a team like Orlando, then you have to go out there and you have to beat them, and it can't be those silly little 1 point victories because you've just scraped out a rebound. It has to be you have to win convincingly to scare other teams. Now you have led this series in the regular season 2-1. So you do have, or yeah, 2-1. So you do have. Oh, it should be 2-2 because we played each other 4 times. I don't know who made this mistake on ESPN, but so you have a tied series at 2-2. All the games were relatively or super close except for a couple. I mean, you lost by 10, you won by 10, you won by I think 35,
Yeah.
and then you lost again by like 7. So the games have been relatively close. The games that you did win were blowouts. The games that they did have one blowout win. That was the game I attended. That was a blowout win for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, the games have been relatively close. Again, it's just playing to your strengths, playing the game. You have the first 2 games at home; those should be wins immediately. You should immediately go up 2-0 on this team, and in a sense, you just have to slow down Paolo Banchero. If you could slow him down, I mean, it forces the other guys to do more and make them do more. because I doubt when we played them like we did on my birthday, Franz Wagner and his brother are
Yeah.
going to go for 30 points apiece like they did, and Bankero goes for like 22 or something. Like, that's not
Yeah.
going to happen again. And if that doesn't happen again, you got to make sure you just shut down Bankero. You got to make sure you play good hard defense. You can't let Joel Ingles just go for, 6 threes and, drop like 18 on you or something like he did
Yeah.
again. So it was just a bad defensive night that night when I went, like a very poor defensive night. But again, JB can't get in his own head. He can't get in his own way. You can't, make the mistakes that you did because in that game too, he had a lot of bad rotations.
Yeah.
When you did come back, you were down by 10, or actually, there's a time where they were down by like 15, 16. The Cavs brought it back to within 5. And this is when like both Garland and Merrill were both like shooting lights out because again, this is when Donovan Mitchell started staying out for a while.
Yeah.
Like this was like the first time Mitchell was staying out for a good while, and Garland was dropping buckets and Sam Merrill dropping buckets, and then JB just takes them both out once you get down to 5, and he puts in Dean Wade and fucking, puts in these scrub guys. He puts in Dean. It's like, why are you putting in Dean fucking Wade, who hasn't done anything all night, or hasn't done anything in the last? I think this was when D Wade was on his like bad performance streak, and he had like a 5 streak game of like bad performances, and I was like, why the hell are you putting him in right now? And of course, he had more minutes than Sam Merrill did. And it cost him because Dean Wade, especially on defense, which actually is a good defender, he was getting cooked all night and he couldn't make a shot to make up for it.
Yeah.
And you took out Merrill for that, and Merrill was getting hot. He was just starting to get, he had like 3 threes in a row in that sequence, and you took him out.
Yeah.
And Darius Garland dropped all 3 assists in that sequence too, and you took him out, and he was dropping a couple threes himself. Like,
Yeah.
you can't. This is a problem with JB. When guys get hot, you cannot take them out. And that's his problem. When guys get hot, he just subs them out and takes them out. And it's like, well, you need some rest. And it's like, we just came back from a 17, 18 point deficit.
Exactly.
And we're now down by 5. Like, at least let us take the fucking lead before you take us out or something.
Yeah.
And he just swaps them out. And then you go back down by 15, 16. And he's like, what the hell happened? Well, you took out all the guys that were balling out, and you took them all out for all the scrubs on the bench. Like, come on, man. Like, you got to think. And I think
read the room. Like it's more of like a read the room. Like, dude, if you're seeing that a guy is streaking, keep him going until he literally asks to come out. Like straight up.
Yeah. Like, if Sam Merrill's knocking 4 threes in a row, don't take him out.
Oh.
He's red high. He's gonna keep making more. Don't take his ass out.
Especially when he has the capability to literally be like a dude that can score 28 points a game or in a game because he can. He's done it.
I think JB's got to stay out of his own way, and then I think the Cavs can win.
Yeah, I mean that's literally the biggest thing with me is JB. Just stay out of your own way. Quit trying to be too methodical about these. Dude, go with the hot hands.
He's trying to out coach the coach, but he's out coaching himself.
He just doesn't need to, especially with how deep this team is. Like, you have the ability to play guys at any point in time, and you can switch it up. Like, dude, if Niang is having a good game, let him ride. Let him play 28 to 30 minutes in that game. That's fine. But you cannot ruin guys like Garland, guys like Jared Allen, Mitchell even, when they don't have to play 40 minutes. Obviously, if it's like a overtime game, they're probably going to play 40 minutes. Okay? But other than that, realistically speaking, no starter should be above 36 to 38 max. I mean, that is max, and that is because it's playoffs. But you still have to be smart, and you still have to ride the hot hands, and you also have to ride the matchups. Like, dude, if Okoro is playing well on defense and able to lock down guys, against the Magic, you got to keep him in because he's giving you that life. He's giving you what you need right now to let the other guys like Mitchell and Garland and Mobley to make those plays that you want on offense. And It's again, dude, it's a read the room, man. Like understand what's going on in the game. Quit worrying about uh overdoing it in terms of your coaching, in terms of your rotations. Keep a 10-man rotation. You will know your guys. Um, have a plan, but be open to changing stuff and being able to say, okay, Donovan is struggling a little bit. Let's let him rest a little bit, and let's let Sam Merrill ride a little bit, or let's let Garland and Mobley ride a little bit. If that's if that's how the matchup is going to work, but you got to be smart. And unfortunately, JB gets in his own way, as you said, and that is his biggest flaw, and that is why this team struggles. And I think these guys know it, and that's why there's a growing frustration. And again, why? Listen, we can go literally to the finals and even win, and I still don't think JB would be the coach.
No,
Uh, because I really don't think JJB is going to be the reason why Donovan stays. I think he's going to be the reason that he goes if you keep him. And I think the Cavs would be stupid to pick JB over Mitchell on that. So, and with the rumor of JB almost getting fired earlier this season, I already think that's in the back of their mind and they know and they're fully aware of that. And I'm sure Dan Gilbert is playing a little bit of a factor in that and saying, hey, we cannot afford to lose another superstar. We can't afford, after building and putting all of this money into this team, post LeBron, to lose them and then to go back again and struggle again. Like, we cannot afford to do that. Otherwise, Cavs fans will not be Cavs fans for longer because it's going to just be another 5 years of BS, potentially good draft picks, potentially bad draft picks. And then we're going to be back in the same shit that we were in without LeBron, where you're going to win 25 games in a season and be dead last in the league. Like, it's just, we don't want that. So you got to start listening to these players. You got to start understanding that sometimes these coaches really don't know what the hell they're doing. They have no business being a coach like this. And he really had no business being a coach for this long. At least our head coach. I'm sure he's a great assistant coach. I'm sure he's great with players. But as a head coach, JB isn't it. I don't think he ever really has been it. And unfortunately, when we put him to that extension, it kind of solidified us to have to keep him for at least 3 seasons. Well, it's been almost 5. Like, it's time to adjust. It's time to make a change because we lost Kate Love because of this shit. I don't want to lose Donovan to this shit. I really don't. I really don't.
no. And the thing is, too, is Donovan's so excited for this playoff game, or this playoff series and playoff games. And I feel like for some reason, JB is just going to fucking ruin that for everyone.
Yeah.
Because he wants to get cute, make all these stupid ass decisions, and, ruin everything. And again, I think no matter how far the Cavs get, I think JB is gone after this season. I think it might have been already been decided by the Cavs front office. Like, this is it for JB Bickerstaff. Like,
Yeah.
no matter where he goes, how far he goes, it's done. It's over. Like they almost fired him after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Or like short, or like just after, when we started going on our losing streaks and stuff like that. Like, he was as good as gone. Actually, he was almost as good as gone by November.
Yeah.
Because he was just not good, and everyone's like, this team has so much talent, so much. Yeah, there was a lot of injuries throughout the season, but even still, there's a lot of talent that you could still win games.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't know how. JB does not know how to win basketball games.
No.
He does not know how to win basketball games, and I don't think he knows the proper X's and O's and draws plays and stuff like that. Like, I don't think he does. I think he's a mediocre coach who belongs in high school or college, and that's where he belongs. He doesn't belong in the NBA. He's not NBA level coach. Same with
Yeah.
Doc Rivers. Him and Doc Rivers are the same. They're not NBA level head coaches. Now, don't get me wrong. Doc has had a lot of success in his NBA career, but guess what? That was due to a lot of the players he's had.
Yeah.
The
Players.
Kevin Garnett's, the Paul Pierce's, the Ray Allens, the Rajon Rondos. Like, those were the reasons why you won those titles, and those are the reasons why you won games.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of you. He single handedly killed those Clippers teams.
Oh yeah.
The Chris Paul and Blake Griffin years, he
Yeah.
completely killed those teams. Like those teams were primed for 5 straight years of NBA championships,
Yeah.
and he fucking ruined them. And he did the same thing with Philly over the last recent years. Philly had championship quality teams, and he fucking ruined them.
Mm-hmm.
Barely even scraping into the playoffs with those guys. Like you're telling me you have Joel Embiid and you can't even scrape a playoff with him or barely scrape into playoff with him. Like my goodness,
And
you're a
James
horrible coach.
Harden.
And
And
James
James Harden at
Harden,
one point too.
like this dude is not a coach.
Didn't
It's
they
the
even
same thing
have
with
Paul?
JB.
Didn't they even have Paul George, or was that who else did they have? I know they had a third guy as well on that team. Oh no, it might have been was it Russ on that team?
No,
I can't remember whoever it was though. There was
they
he's
had
had
Ben
so many
Simmons at that
chances.
point.
Yeah, like he had so many chances with so many good players to
And
play
he's fucking
well
ruined them.
and win games, and they just couldn't because again, Doc Rivers is just a very, very, very
And
mid
I think
guy.
I think him and JB are very similar coaches. They're just very mid coaches,
Yeah,
but they get overhyped because of the fact that they have had good players play for their teams.
yeah,
Like Donovan Mitchell is single handedly saving your job right now as we speak,
yeah,
and he's got to go after this. Like if he's not gone, then I think it's like you said. I think you lose half your Cavs fan base if you don't get rid of JB Bickerstaff after this season, no matter what happens,
yeah. And I think
and you
it
lose
would
Donovan
be
Mitchell.
yeah. I mean, it would be naive to not let JJB go, and I think that's why I'm so nervous about this
Oh, I'm
series.
nervous. I'm scared.
Like it's not because of the players, dude. We have the players. Like we have
It's
the
the coach.
personnel. It's the coaching, and it's more of the rift between the coaches and the
And
player. Like
they don't get
if
along.
if that really is going to be a factor, dude. There's going to be a little bit of hero ball play. There's going to be times where JB calls out a call and Donovan's going to wave it off and say, "No, we got this. Like let us play. Like we're in our bag." And unfortunately, I don't think the Cavs play well in hero ball. I think
No.
they play their very best when they're literally just sharing the rock, when their defense is on fucking point, the communication is on point. Everybody just needed that reset, and I think having a few days off has helped. I know Donovan's excited. I know he's saying he's 100%. We'll see how much
100%
of a
yes.
of that is. But Garland, I'm looking at you, big bro. Like you had a good game in game two last year. When I went, I know he dropped a 30. I think Mobley and Jared Allen both had 20s and a freaking double. Like it was just a solid performance. Donovan struggled last year in that game and really that whole series. Um, Guys that struggled last year, they got to bring it. And you guys now you understand from last year that physicality is a very important thing in the playoffs. Like it's totally different. Whatever you thought was playoff ball in the regular season ain't shit compared to the actual playoffs. They're lower scoring. There's a lot more fouling. There's a lot more physicality. Refs are gonna let things go sometimes because it's the playoffs and they're not gonna ruin games, or they will ruin games because they're probably betting on them.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's actually true, but that's just my opinion. Um,
Calling out
but
Porter.
yeah, but again, it's playoff ball. Like it's totally different. And now whatever happened this season, it's 0-0 now. Like it's
Yeah.
back to square. Go fucking win a series. Get some confidence going and let it ride.
Hmm.
Because the only team that you really should be fearful of, well, really two in the East, is the Knicks and Boston.
Yep.
After that, you really shouldn't fear other teams right now because those teams are not up to that stature. And the only reason why you would really be fearful of the Knicks is because the Knicks just seem to have our number. Like I think they're really just in our head.
And I think now's
From
the
last
prime.
year.
I think that now's the prime time to play the Knicks because they're without OG and a newbie.
Yeah.
They have Julius Randle's done for the year.
Yeah.
Um, RJ I think has been injury riddled
Well,
for the
he's
last couple.
Well, I don't even think RJ's on the team anymore.
Oh
I
no,
think
he's
I think he
gone.
got
Yeah, he's
traded.
gone. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's gone because the OG and a newbie came in for
yeah,
him. Cause so
yeah.
Barrett's in Toronto now.
I
Um,
forget who is that the white boy they have that's a really good shooter.
Dante
I forget.
DiVincenzo.
Yeah, that kid lit us up the one day. Josh Hart had that massive
Yeah,
triple double the last time I saw us play them. Obviously, Brunson is one of those kids that can literally drop 60 on your forehead like nothing. Like it's
yeah.
crazy. Like again, it just comes down to being aggressive and not being afraid to take it back to them. And guys like Mobley are gonna have to be a tone setter. Even I mean, obviously Jared Allen too, but like our big
Mhm.
guys have to be tone setters. You have to start these games fast and aggressive inside, open up the 3 point for later, and like guys like Merrill and Niang and even Okoro hit some threes and really start to get a flow in the game to where you
Yeah.
can sort of let your guys like Garland and Donovan really, really, really play well. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want Garland doing a lot of ball handling in this series or
No.
really any series. I don't know why. I don't love his ball handling. I think he plays too fast and too sporadic. He's like a squirrel on the court. I really would rather prefer Mitchell and Levert to be our two main ball handlers, and I think that's how you're going to see it for the most part. If either of them aren't in, and you have Garland going fine, I guess. But
Mhm.
even then, I don't want Garland doing a lot of ball handling. I want him to be a spot up guy. I want him to create shots on his own, and be just a really good point guard in terms of passing the ball and being efficient. Don't turn the ball over and continue to just have confidence in yourselves. Like when these guys have the confidence, they are lights out. They're one of the best teams in the league. So we will see. I mean, luckily we don't face the Knicks. Like that's the only upside to this. I think that was the only team that I was like, man, if we start off playing, playing them again, it's going to be another first round exit. But
Yeah.
the Magic are no slouch team. They've beaten us, this season. We've also beaten the shit out of them, so it's not like we don't have the capability of doing so. It's just when the Cavs want to be lazy, when they don't want to play defense and not be aggressive. That's how those games go every single time, and it's so frustrating. And I just hope that the rift between the coaches, really JB, and the players gets solved or at least like squashed for this series and for this playoffs because I don't want another first round exit. I
Well,
know nobody else does too, but I don't want that to happen.
well, my thing is too is I think Donovan Mitchell loves Cleveland. He loves being here. He loves his teammates. Like, there's a reason why he came here, and he was on a golf course ecstatic when he got traded to
Yeah,
Cleveland. It's because he knows his team is young and really fucking good and and they could go far.
yeah,
But the only thing that's holding him back from a contract extension is JB. I think
yeah,
that's truly the only indication is that's holding him back is JB Bickerstaff. If you
absolutely.
had a totally different coach, he's gonna lock in for 4 or 5 more years
Yeah,
and he's gonna lock in. And I think this team would win. I think they could have a championship in them, and it just has to be the right coach. And like you said, they have to squash the beef in the playoffs. They have to just focus on the games. I think if you could set the tone, if you set the tone in game one and you win by like 15 plus points or something, then Orlando's gonna fear you and they're gonna be like, okay, these boys, the last time we played them, they're not fucking around. Like
right.
they're here for blood. Like they're here to kill, and you're gonna shed some fear into them. And I'm not gonna say it's gonna come easier, but it's gonna want to make them play harder, and you have to play again just twice as hard. And you can't soften up. And I know JB likes to soften up a little bit. You can't soften up, and the boys just have to go hard. Like you said, Mobley, Allen, all these guys got to go hard.
Yeah,
Play hard in the paint. Don't let the Wagner brothers outduel you for rebounds. The boys got to get the ball out to the perimeter, kick it out, get some buckets, get some threes from Struess and Niang and you know all the other guys. Mobley, as long as he continues to dominate the paint like he has been and making buckets, especially from the three, like
yeah,
Mobley needs. If you get to Mobley in these last few games of the season and these playoffs, it's over because Mobley's going to dominate.
Yeah.
Like that's the Mobley you want. Jared Allen scoring 20 plus points a game and just by dominating the paint. Yes, please give me more of that this in this postseason.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can get Sam Merrill to drop a few threes, Strus to drop a few threes, Niang to get a few threes, hell, the most underrated player on our team is Karis and Levert, and he's been averaging like 17 off the bench,
Right.
and he's capable of being a starter. And these guys just got to stay the way they are, stay the course, stay hot. Everything will be fine. And I think if you can get to the next round, I think Mitchell could understand losing to Boston because Boston's just over fucking powered right now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'll be like, okay, look, we lost to Boston. I'd rather lose to Boston than the fucking Magic. And he'll be like, we could run it back next year. We just got to get rid of JB fucking Bickerstaff.
Yeah.
And I think if we truly do that, we can run the table next year and make it to a conference finals, if not a finals. Because
I totally agree.
at this point, it's just JB. And Donovan Mitchell's like, again, I'm sure he'll be okay with losing to the Celtics, especially if you give him a good series.
Yeah, if you give him like at least a 6-game series or so.
If you give him a 6-game series, he's gonna be okay with it. Or if you can get him to game 7 and he'll be like, damn, and you lose by like a bucket or something, he'll be like, guys, we were inches away from it. Like we were there. Like we could run this table next year. We could run it back.
Right.
Because where else is Donovan gonna go? That's gonna be good. Everyone's like, oh, he can go to the Lakers. Well, the Lakers are gonna have to dump all their players just for him, and they're gonna be garbage. It's gonna be like him back in Utah again.
Yeah.
And where's he gonna go? The Knicks again. You're gonna have to give us a big deal package. So again, that's not gonna work out for New York because it can't just be him and Jalen Brunson. You're gonna need more people.
Yeah.
So no matter, people don't realize, no matter where Mitchell goes, he's gonna carry a package with him,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have to give up a decent amount to get him.
Yeah.
So at this point, where's he gonna go?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
if
not saying-
anything, if anything, I think if you're gonna get rid of a player, it's either gonna be Garland or Mobley at this point.
I think so too.
Like,
I think,
and it's sad because like I don't want to give up on neither of those kids because I don't think they're bad. They're bad players. I just don't know if they're under the right regime or just the right mentorship that they need right now. And I think that's their big flaw.
I kind of like going back to Utah and with one of those guys and getting back like a Laurie Markkinen or something,
Yeah.
and get maybe because even Colin Sexton he's been balling out in Utah. Like
Yeah.
I think even getting because he plays physical, he plays hard.
And
Not saying that Darius doesn't, but he also doesn't turn the ball over every 30 seconds.
Right, and like then at that point you can make Donovan your just your permanent point guard. Like
Yeah.
if you really want to do that. But if not, go bring in like a legit just ball handling point guard that doesn't score a lot but is just consistent and clean with the basketball. Go out and do that if that's what you want. Because Garland, I think, needs to be on a team where he can sort of be like the main focus, maybe.
Be the main guy.
And even same with Mobley, maybe that's what he needs to be like truly unlocked. Because at this point, he's probably the third or fourth guy chosen in terms of like who's gonna get the ball first or like who's gonna get that first shot because it's Mitchell, it's Garland. Even Levert's up there. I would say Jared Allen is going to get the ball a lot because honestly, he just plays well down low and he's just a constant bucket when he's on. It just stinks. Like if Mobley could really develop his outside shot, I think he would be very very well for this team. But he's just too inconsistent with it, and it's.
I think too. I think he just needs to put on the weight too.
Yeah.
Like he's too I think you could start him as a center with Allen and such, but he needs to build a bigger body because there's times where he does get smacked around in the paint because he is very thin for his height. Yeah. So I think if he can hit the weight room and just put on like 20 or 30 pounds or something, that kid's gonna be a fucking monster.
Yeah. I just really hope that he gets to develop it into what he's supposed to be for this team. Because again, I don't want to give up on on these guys, but decisions are gonna have to be made because
Hmm.
Mobley is gonna get paid soon, whether it be with us or somebody else. It's gonna happen. So you need to side that, especially if you're gonna also be able to retain Mitchell and Garland, and whoever else you want to build around. So it really just depends, man. It really depends on also the plan of, the Cavs front office and what they want to do. But like, I think the focal point should be absolutely keeping Donovan, but you have to add another like legit like not superstar, but you got to bring in another guy to tag team with him. Like a Jaylen Brown sort of guy.
Hmm.
Somebody that can also eat on his own, but is not selfish in that regard. Um, so we'll see. Um, Again, I'm nervous about it, but I think this is at least a favorable matchup. But I said that last year, and we got our ass kicked by the Knicks.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I don't know, man. I don't really have anything else to say on it. Besides just hopefully we don't suck. I hope that the
Well,
first two games, at least we're at home for the first two games, right?
yeah,
Like
the first two
we're,
games are
thank
we have a home
God,
court, so the first two
thank
games
God.
are at home.
Yeah, so
And
so come out and beat the shit out of them.
I'll look at the
2-0.
schedule. By
I
the
think it's
time
Saturday and Tuesday, I think is our games.
Saturday and Tuesday, so by the time we do this again, they've already played two, almost three games.
Yeah.
So at least that's when we come back to it, and we can
Yeah.
give a little bit of an analysis after the first couple games and see, and maybe even do a mock draft.
Yeah.
Because next
I would love
Thursday
to
is
do
the
a mock
NFL
draft.
draft.
That's true. Yeah, we should do a mock draft.
Next Thursday is the NFL draft.
Yeah, we should try to cuz there's a way to like present our screen on here
Wait, I
for
think
this.
I think it's either next Thursday or next Friday.
I
I
think
can't
it's
remember
next
if they do
Thursday.
it. It's the 25th, so it is next Thursday.
Yeah.
So yeah, next Thursday. I believe it's at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Cool. So yeah, we will definitely do that cuz that will be fun.
Yeah,
And
and we could.
I'll actually be off for that first round too.
Yeah, and I mean we could even maybe do like even like a live stream of like the first round or something.
Oh
And
yeah. Just get our like overall reaction of what's going on because there's gonna be some crazy ass shit that's going on. Like
oh yeah,
first round's always fun with trades and just those picks are like, whoa, he what? Like, yeah, I'm actually totally down to do a live stream on Thursday, but I also am down to do our pod and then we'll be like, hey, we'll live stream on Thursday, and then we can upload on Friday and see if we got it right, or we can even upload on Wednesday and then do a live stream on Thursday. We'll see how it, we'll talk about it. But
yeah.
yeah, expect a mock draft for the funsies.
Yep, and the draft begins at 8 p.m. too. So, could like you said, we could do a quick show on Wednesday, do a live draft show on Thursday, and
Yeah.
have fun with it.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. I'm totally down for that. All right, boys and possible ladies. I'm sure there's at least one out one out there that will try to watch us. Who knows? We only got a few
Hey,
viewers
mom.
right now. Hey, mom. Yeah, thanks for the view.
Thanks for the
But yeah,
view.
Andrew, you got anything else for us before we get off here today?
Yes, sir. Go Guards and go Cavs.
Go Guards, go Cavs. Please don't disappoint me.
God, no. I don't want to come here Wednesday and we're down like 0-2
Yeah, just
or
sad.
like 1-1.
Yeah, the vibe
Fucking
will not
depressed.
be good then. All right, guys, we will see you guys next week with some NFL draft stuff.